Hi, I'm Laura, and my life is more like forgetting to buy milk 3 times in a row and then crying about it. But this Valentine's Day, with him, it changed something inside me, and I want to tell you about it. Not because I think we are some kind of goal for other people, but because maybe, just maybe, you have been hurt before. Maybe you have given up on love. Maybe you think sweet things only happen to other people. I used to think that too, until February 14th. So grab some tea or chocolate or whatever makes you feel cozy. Let me take you back to that morning. The morning I almost ruined everything before it even started. I woke up to my phone screaming at me. Not literally, but the alarm. You know that sound? The one that makes you want to throw your phone against the wall? Yeah. I reached over, half asleep, and knocked over a glass of water I forgot was there from last night. Cold water. All over my face, my pillow, and my favorite gray sweatshirt. Great, I mumbled. Perfect start. I sat up, soaking wet and confused. For a second, I didn't even know what day it was. Then I looked at my phone again. February 14th. Valentine's Day. My stomach did this weird little flip. Not the good kind. The nervous kind. Because you see, I have a history with this day. A bad history. 2 years ago, my ex-boyfriend broke up with me on Valentine's Day. He said, and I quote, "I just don't feel the spark anymore, Laura." Also, you laughed too loud. Too loud? Really? That was his big reason? So for the last 2 years, I told myself I hated Valentine's Day. I said it was fake. A marketing trick. A day for card companies to steal our money. And I almost believed it. But then, there was him. Let me tell you a little about him. I'll call him him because saying his real name still makes my cheeks warm. He is not the kind of guy you see in magazines. He is not tall in a dramatic way. He does not have perfect teeth or wear expensive cologne. In fact, the first time we met, he had a small piece of spinach stuck between his front teeth. And he laughed about it when I told him. He didn't get embarrassed. He just said, "Oh, thanks." I've been walking around like this for an hour. That's when I knew he was different. We had been dating for about 8 months. Slow, quiet, the kind of relationship where we mostly ate cheap pizza and watched nature documentaries about penguins. Yes, penguins. And he always cried a little when the baby penguin struggled. That's the kind of heart he has. But here's the thing. I was scared, really scared. Because after my ex-boyfriend, I built a wall around my heart. Not a cute little fence. A big, ugly concrete wall with barbed wire on top. I told myself, Laura, do not fall too hard. Do not expect anything, especially on Valentine's Day. So when that morning came, I did something stupid. I texted him, "Hey, don't worry about today. I know it's a silly holiday. No pressure, okay? We can just hang out like normal." I hit send before I could think. Then I stared at the screen. Part of me hoped he would fight back. Part of me hoped he would say, "No, Laura, you are wrong. I want to celebrate you." But another part of me, the scared, broken part, wanted him to agree. Because if he agreed, then I wouldn't have to hope. And hoping hurts when it doesn't work out. He replied after 2 minutes. 2 very long minutes. "Okay, if that's what you want. See you at 7. That was it. No emoji. No, but just okay. My heart sank. I told myself I was fine. I told myself I didn't care. But I did. I cared so much it made my chest ache. The rest of the day was weird. I went to work. I smiled at my coworkers. My friend Sarah asked, "So what's he doing for you tonight?" And I lied. I said, "Oh, nothing big. We're being low-key." Inside, I was crumbling. By 4 p.m., I had convinced myself that he didn't really love me. That I was just someone to watch penguins with. That he probably forgot it was even Valentine's Day. I started to get angry. Not at him. At myself. For hoping. For thinking maybe this time would be different. I went home and stood in front of my closet for 45 minutes. 45 minutes. That's almost an hour of my life I will never get back. I tried on a red dress. Too much. I tried on jeans and a sweater. Too boring. I tried on black pants and a nice blouse. Too serious. Finally, I put on my comfiest leggings and an oversized hoodie. The hoodie had a tiny hole near the sleeve. I didn't care. I thought, if he doesn't care about Valentine's Day, why should I dress up? At 6:55 p.m., the doorbell rang. My heart stopped. Then it started beating so fast I thought I was having a medical event. I took a deep breath. I told myself to be cool, be casual, be the girl who doesn't care. I opened the door, and there he was. He was holding a small cardboard box. Not a fancy gift box. Just a plain brown box with no ribbon, no bow, nothing pretty. He was also holding a grocery bag. And he had the biggest, goofiest smile on his face. "Hi," he said. "Hi," I said back. My voice came out strange, like a frog who learned to speak human. He looked at my hoodie. He looked at the hole in the sleeve. He didn't say anything about it. He just smiled bigger. "Can I come in?" he asked. "Yeah, sure. Sorry. My brain is slow today." He walked in and went straight to my kitchen. I followed him like a confused puppy. He put the grocery bag on the counter and started pulling things out. A bag of flour, sugar, eggs, butter, a small bottle of vanilla extract, and a tiny jar of rainbow sprinkles. I just stood there, blinking. "What is all this?" I asked. He turned around and held up the brown box. "Open it." My hands were shaking a little. I opened the box. Inside was a heart-shaped cookie cutter. One of those cheap metal ones you can buy at any grocery store. It cost maybe $2. I looked at the cookie cutter, then at him, then at the groceries. "Are we making cookies?" I asked. He laughed. Not a mean laugh, a warm laugh. The kind that makes you feel like everything is going to be okay. "Laura," he said softly, "you told me not to make a big deal out of today. You said no pressure. So I thought, what if we just make something together? Not fancy, not expensive, just us. Flour on our faces, sprinkles everywhere. Maybe we burn the first batch. Maybe they look ugly, but we make them together." I felt my throat get tight. You know that feeling when you want to cry, but you also want to laugh? That was me. "You hate cooking," I said. Because he did. He once burned boiling water. I didn't even know that was possible. "I know," he said, "but I love you. So I'll burn cookies with you." And there it was. The first time he said, "I love you." Not on a mountaintop. Not with a guitar playing in the background. In my messy kitchen, with flour about to go everywhere, and me wearing a hoodie with a hole in it. I stood there for a second too long. He looked at me, and for the first time, I saw a little fear in his eyes. Like he was worried he said it too soon. Or too quietly. Or in the wrong way. So I did the only thing that made sense. I grabbed the cookie cutter, threw my arms around his neck, and buried my face in his shoulder. He smelled like coffee and soap and something warm I couldn't name. "I love you too," I whispered into his shirt. "I'm sorry, I'm so scared all the time." He held me tighter. "I know. That's okay. We have time." We stood like that for maybe a full minute. Then I pulled back and wiped my eyes with my sleeve. "Okay," I said. "Let's make some ugly cookies." Making cookies with someone who doesn't know how to cook is both hilarious and terrifying. I should explain. I am not a great baker myself. I once made a cake that was so dense, we used it as a doorstop for 3 months. So 2 non-bakers in one kitchen? That's a recipe for disaster. Literally. He took off his jacket and rolled up his sleeves. He had on a plain white t-shirt and jeans. And I noticed for the first time that he had flour on his hand already. How? He hadn't even opened the bag yet. Did you already spill flour on yourself?" I asked. He looked at his hand. Then he smiled that goofy smile again. "Maybe." I got excited in the car. I laughed. A real laugh. The kind that comes from your belly and makes your eyes water. It had been so long since I laughed like that. Not a polite laugh. Not a "I'm fine" laugh. A real one. "Okay, chef," I said. "What's the first step?" He pulled out his phone. I Googled easy sugar cookie recipe for idiots. "You searched that exactly?" "Exactly." I wanted to be clear about my skill level. We read the recipe together. Our shoulders touching. His phone was cracked in the top corner. He had been meaning to fix it for 3 months. But somehow, that cracked screen felt more real than any perfect Instagram photo. First, I read aloud, "Cream together butter and sugar." We looked at each other. What does cream together mean? He asked. I have no idea. We stared at the bowl, then at the butter, then at each other. I think, I said slowly, we just mixed them really hard. So that's what we did. He held the bowl. I held a wooden spoon. And we took turns mixing. Butter flew everywhere. A chunk landed on his nose. I almost died laughing. You have butter on your face, I said. You have butter in your hair, he replied. I touched my hair. He was right. There was a small yellow smear near my ear. I didn't even know how that happened. We added the egg next. That was another mistake. He cracked the egg so hard that shell pieces fell into the bowl. I tried to fish them out with my fingers. He tried to help. We ended up smashing the egg more. This is a disaster, I said. But I was smiling so wide my cheeks hurt. No, he said. This is fun. When was the last time you had fun, Laura? Real fun. I stopped. I thought about it. When was the last time? Before my ex broke my heart, I used to dance in my kitchen while making pasta. I used to sing badly and not care. But after the breakup, I became quiet. Careful. I stopped doing things that might make me look silly. It's been a while, I admitted. He put down the spoon. He looked at me very seriously. Then he took a pinch of flour and threw it at my face. I stood there in shock. White powder all over my hoodie, my hair, my eyebrows. You did not just do that, I said. He was already running to the other side of the kitchen, laughing like a little kid. So of course, I grabbed the bag of flour and chased him. We ran around my tiny kitchen table 3 times. I slipped on a piece of butter that had fallen on the floor. He caught me before I fell. But in catching me, he knocked over the sugar bowl. Sugar everywhere. Flour everywhere. Butter on the ceiling. I don't know how butter got on the ceiling, but there it was. We both looked at the mess. Then we looked at each other. And we laughed until we couldn't breathe. Your neighbors probably think we're crazy, he said. My neighbors think I'm a serial killer because I never talk to anyone, I said. This is an improvement. We cleaned up the floor first. Then we tried again with the dough. This time, we worked together slower. He measured. I poured. We still made mistakes. But we laughed through every single one. Finally, we had a ball of dough. It was lumpy. It was slightly the wrong color. But it was ours. Now we roll it out, he said, reading from his phone. We didn't have a rolling pin. I used a clean wine bottle instead. Classy, right? He held the dough while I rolled. It stuck to the bottle. It stuck to the counter. It stuck to his fingers. This dough hates us, he said. This dough is a reflection of our relationship, I joked. Messy but sweet. He stopped and looked at me. His eyes got soft. Yeah, he said quietly. Exactly. We used the heart-shaped cookie cutter. It was small, so each cookie was tiny, the size of a silver dollar. We had to cut maybe 30 little hearts. Some were perfect. Most were wonky. One looked like a sad potato. He called that one our firstborn. We are never having children if this is how we handle cookies, I said. Agreed. Let's just get a plant. A very strong plant that can survive us. We put the cookies on a baking sheet. They were crowded together because we didn't have a big pan. Some hearts touched each other. They looked like they were holding hands. That's us, he said, pointing to 2 cookies that were squished together. A little messy, a little too close, but together. I felt that warmth again. The scary, wonderful warmth. The feeling I had been running from for 2 years. We put the cookies in the oven. Then we sat on my kitchen floor because the chairs were covered in flour and waited. The kitchen smelled like vanilla and butter and something that might be burning. Do you smell that? I asked. Smell what? Something crispy. We looked at the oven. A small puff of smoke came out of the top. Oh no, we said at the same time. We ran to the oven and opened the door. Smoke poured out. Not a lot, but enough. The cookies were not burned. They were very brown. On the edge of being charcoal. But not quite there. They're alive, he said, fanning the smoke with a dish towel. Barely, I said. We pulled the tray out. The little heart cookies looked sad. Some had cracked. Some had bubbles. The one shaped like a potato was now shaped like a burned potato. They're ugly, I said. They're perfect, he said. And you know what? He meant it. He wasn't just being nice. He looked at those ugly, lopsided, slightly burned cookies like they were the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. That's when I realized something important. He wasn't here for perfect cookies. He wasn't here for a perfect Valentine's Day. He was here for me. The messy, scared, butter in her hair me. We let the cookies cool. Then we mixed powdered sugar with a little water to make a simple icing. It was too runny. It dripped everywhere. We tried to put rainbow sprinkles on top, but they rolled off because the icing was too wet. We failed, I said. We absolutely failed, he agreed. Let's eat them anyway. He picked up the burned potato cookie and bit into it. His face went through about 5 different emotions. Confusion, surprise, then a slow smile. These are actually not terrible, he said. I tried one. He was right. They were crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. A little too sweet, a little burnt, but good, really good. We ate all 30 cookies, every single one. We didn't even save any for later. We just sat on the flour-covered floor, eating burned heart-shaped cookies and talking about nothing and everything. He told me about his childhood dog, a fat beagle named Pancake who once ate an entire birthday cake off the kitchen table. I told him about my fear of elevators, even though I know it's silly. He told me about the time he cried during a commercial about a lost dog finding its way home. I told him about the time I accidentally texted my boss, "I love you," instead of my mom. By 10 p.m., we were both sticky with icing and covered in sprinkles. The kitchen looked like a small flour bomb had exploded. And I had never been happier. He looked at his watch. It's getting late. My heart sank a little. Yeah, I guess. But he didn't move. He just sat there, playing with a sprinkle on his jeans. Laura, he said slowly, can I tell you something? Something I've been scared to say. My stomach flipped again. Okay. He took a deep breath. When you texted me this morning, saying not to make a big deal, I almost believed you. I almost thought you didn't want to be with me today. And that hurt. It hurt a lot. I opened my mouth to apologize, but he held up his hand. Let me finish. It hurt because I know why you said it. I know about your ex. I know he broke your heart on this day. And I know you built a wall. A big, tall, scary wall. And I've been trying so hard to be patient. To not push. To just show up and make cookies and watch penguins and hope that one day you'll let me in. Tears started rolling down my cheeks. I didn't even try to stop them. But Laura, he continued, his voice cracking a little. I need you to know something. I am not him. I will never be him. I will never leave you because you laugh too loud. I love your loud laugh. I love your messy hair. I love that you forget to buy milk. I love that you cried during the penguin documentary even more than I did. I love you. All of you. Even the scared parts. I was full on crying now. Ugly crying. The kind with snot and red eyes and a wobbly chin. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry I pushed you away. He scooted closer and took my sticky, icing-covered hands in his. You don't have to be sorry. You just have to try. That's all. Just try to let me in. Even a little. Even one tiny crack in that wall. I looked at our hands. His were bigger than mine. Warm. A little rough from working on his old car. Real hands. Not perfect, but real. Okay, I said. I'll try. He smiled. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out something small. A folded piece of paper. What's that? I asked. Open it. I unfolded the paper. It was a drawing. A really bad drawing. Stick figures. One had long messy hair, me. One had a round head with glasses, him. We were standing in front of a lopsided rectangle that was supposed to be an oven. And above us, he had written in messy handwriting, our first Valentine's Day. We burned the cookies, but not the love. I laughed and cried at the same time. You drew this. During my lunch break. I'm not an artist. Obviously, I said, laughing. But I'm your artist, he said. And that was it. That was the moment the wall around my heart cracked. Just a little. Just enough. We stayed up until midnight, sitting on the kitchen floor, eating the last few crumbs of burned cookies and talking about nothing. When he finally left, he kissed my forehead softly, gently, and said, same time tomorrow. No cookies. Maybe just penguins. Penguins sound perfect, I said. After he left, I stood in the middle of my destroyed kitchen. Flour on the counters. Sugar on the floor. Butter on the ceiling. A drawing of 2 stick figures taped to my refrigerator. And for the first time in 2 years, I didn't feel alone. The next morning, I woke up to a text from him. Just a photo. No words. The photo was of his kitchen counter. On it sat one single, lopsided, burned heart-shaped cookie. The one he had snuck into his pocket before leaving my apartment. He had saved it. Like a treasure. Under the photo, he finally typed, "Breakfast of Champions." I laughed out loud in my empty bedroom. Then I typed back, "You're disgusting. I love you." 3 little words. And I meant every single one. But here's where the story gets real. Because I don't want you to think that one perfect night fixed everything. That's not how healing works. Healing is slow. Healing is messy. Healing is waking up the next day and still feeling scared, even after someone drew you a beautiful, ugly drawing. The week after Valentine's Day was hard. Not because of him. Because of me. My brain kept trying to find problems. Kept trying to push him away. Kept whispering, "This is too good. It won't last. Leave before he leaves you." Have you ever felt that? That little voice in your head that tells you to run? That voice is a liar. But it sounds so real. On Tuesday, 3 days after Valentine's Day, I almost canceled our plans. We were supposed to have dinner at his place. Nothing fancy. Just frozen pizza and a movie. But I woke up feeling heavy. Sad for no reason. The kind of sad that doesn't have a name. I picked up my phone to text him. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. "I'm not feeling well. Maybe another night." That was the lie I was about to tell. A small lie. A safe lie. But then I looked at my refrigerator. At his stick figure drawing. At the words, "We burn the cookies, but not the love." I put the phone down. Instead, I did something brave. I called him. Not texted. Called. He answered on the second ring. "Hey you. What's up?" I took a deep breath. "I'm having a bad day. My brain is being mean to me. And I almost canceled on you. But I'm trying. Remember? I'm trying to let you in." There was a pause. Then he said, "Laura, thank you for telling me. That was really brave." It doesn't feel brave. It feels like I'm admitting I'm broken. "You're not broken," he said softly. "You're healing. There's a difference. Broken means you can't be fixed. Healing means you're getting there. Slowly. Ugly cookies, remember." I wiped my eyes. "Ugly cookies." "Now," he said, his voice lighter. "Do you want me to come over instead? We can watch penguins. I'll bring the frozen pizza. And I promise not to burn it. You always burn it." Exactly. Consistency is important in a relationship. I laughed. That real laugh again. "Okay, come over." He showed up 40 minutes later with 2 frozen pizzas, a bag of salad that was already wilting, and a small potted succulent. He handed me the plant. "What's this for?" I asked. "You said we should get a plant instead of kids. So here's our first child. Her name is Valentina. She's very low maintenance. Like you. Are you calling me low maintenance?" "I'm calling you perfect," he said. And he kissed my cheek. We put Valentina the succulent on my windowsill. She is still there today, by the way. Thriving. Somehow. That night, we did watch penguins. And he did burn the pizza. And I did cry a little during the sad parts. And it was the best Tuesday night of my life. But I want to tell you about the weeks that followed. Because Valentine's Day was just the beginning. The real love story happened in the small, quiet moments after. Like the time I had a panic attack at the grocery store. Have you ever had one? It feels like the world is closing in. The lights are too bright. The sounds are too loud. And you can't breathe. I was standing in the pasta aisle, frozen, holding a box of spaghetti, when my chest got tight. I couldn't move. I couldn't think. I just stood there, crying silently. I called him. Not because I thought he could fix it, but because he was the only person I wanted to hear. He was at work. But he answered anyway. And he didn't say, "Calm down," or "It's not a big deal." You know what he said? He said, "Laura, look at the pasta. Tell me what color the box is." "Blue," I whispered. "Good. Now tell me one thing you can smell." Bread. The bakery section. Good. Now touch your shirt. What does it feel like? Soft. It's my gray hoodie. The one with the hole. That's my favorite hoodie, he said. You're doing great. Now take one slow breath with me. And we breathe together. In, out, in, out. After a few minutes, my heart stopped racing. The light stopped being so bright. I was still shaky, but I was okay. Thank you, I said. Always, he said. Now go buy the blue box pasta. It's the best one. He didn't know anything about pasta, but I bought the blue box anyway. Then there was the night I told him about my ex. The whole story. Not just the breakup, but everything before it. The small cruelties. The way my ex would ignore me for days. The way he made me feel like I was too much, too loud, too emotional, too needy. The way I started shrinking myself to fit into his small, cold world. I told him all of this while sitting on his couch, wrapped in a blanket, crying into a cup of tea that had gone cold. He listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't try to fix it. He just held my hand and listened. When I finished, he said, "That man was an idiot." "That's not very helpful," I said, laughing through tears. "It's the truth. You are not too loud. You are not too emotional. You are not too much. You are exactly enough. You have always been exactly enough." He just couldn't see it because he was too busy being small. I cried again. But this time, they were different tears. Not sad tears. Release tears. The kind that come when you finally let go of something heavy you've been carrying for too long. He pulled me close. "Laura, I'm not going anywhere. Even when you're sad. Even when you're scared. Even when you forget to buy milk 3 times in a row. I'm staying. What if I burn dinner? I'll eat it anyway. What if I laugh too loud in a restaurant? I'll laugh louder. What if I cry during every penguin documentary for the rest of our lives?" He smiled against my hair. "Then I'll buy more tissues." That was the night I realized something. Love isn't about finding someone who completes you. It's about finding someone who stays when you're incomplete. Someone who doesn't run when you're messy. Someone who brings frozen pizza and a succulent and a terrible drawing of 2 stick figures. Valentine's Day was sweet. But the days after? Those were the real gift. 1 month later, we tried making cookies again. This time, we used a better recipe. We bought a real rolling pin. We watched a YouTube video first. The cookies came out beautiful. Golden brown. Perfectly heart-shaped. The icing was smooth. The sprinkles stayed on. And you know what? We were both a little disappointed. "They're too perfect," he said. "I know," I said. "I kind of miss the burned ones." The burned ones had character. The burned ones had love. We ate the perfect cookies anyway. They tasted fine. Good even. But they weren't the same. Because the burned cookies were ours. The burned cookies were the ones we made when we were scared and messy and didn't know what we were doing. The burned cookies were the beginning. So we burned the next batch on purpose. Just a little. Just enough to make them ugly again. And he laughed and said, "There they are. There's our love." So, what did I learn from all of this? What do I want you to take away from my story? I learned that sweet Valentine's Day doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't require roses or expensive dinners or fancy gifts. It requires someone who shows up. Someone who sees your flower-covered hair and your holy hoodie and your scared, healing heart and stays anyway. I learned that love is not about avoiding pain. It's about finding someone who will sit with you in the pain, who won't try to rush you or fix you or change you, who will just be there, holding your sticky, icing-covered hand. And I learned that the wall around my heart, the big, ugly, concrete wall with barbed wire, it didn't disappear in one night. It's still there, but now it has cracks. Small cracks where light gets in. And through those cracks, he has climbed. Slowly, patiently, one burned cookie at a time. If you are someone who has been hurt before, if you have given up on love, if you think you are too broken for someone to stay, please hear me. You are not too broken. You are not too loud. You are not too much. You are exactly enough. And there is someone out there who will bring you frozen pizza and a succulent and stay even when you try to push them away. It might not happen on Valentine's Day. It might happen on a random Tuesday. It might happen while you're both covered in flour and laughing so hard you can't breathe. But it will happen, if you let it. As for me and him, We're still here. Still making ugly cookies. Still watching penguins. Still forgetting to buy milk. Valentina the succulent is still alive, which is honestly a miracle. And every time I look at that terrible drawing on my refrigerator, the stick figures, the lopsided oven, the messy handwriting, I remember. We burned the cookies, but we never burned the love.